What's going on, everyone? This is Fenzl and I'm here with Dmac, and in today's video we are going to be explaining things about the slider. We're also going to be showing you how to find min, mid, and max distance in your club and how we determine our elevation for the shot that we are going to be taking. Daniel?
Hey, Fenzl, what's up? Great working with you again on something. And, we're a little bit about how we find the exact calculations for each club. And then we're also going to show you some friendlies and give you some live examples on how we do that. I'm excited, and let's get going.
Let's get going, bud.
Hello, everyone. This is a part of the video where I'm going to explain how to figure out slider percent for every club. Okay, the most important part about this slide is that you need to read all the slides first before you try to put in the calculation. Right here, we have in the very beginning, this P0 ball is how you figure out a slider percentage per yard. So for any club, all you're going to do is take 100, and then you're going to divide it by the max club distance. Okay, how do you figure out the max club distance? So this first part, max club distance, and if you slide down here, you see the arrows pointing to these numbers. That is your max club distance for that club. So just go to your club card and you can figure that out for any club. Okay, so that's the first part you're going to put in, and then you're going to minus the min club distance. All the min club distance is the max yards for the club before that. For instance, if you're going to do a sniper, okay, your max club distance would be 172, and again, this sniper 10. And then your min club distance, I know this, but if you wanted to know it and find out, you would just go to your B52 or your Goliath and find out what the max club for a long iron is, which would be 135. Okay, and I'll show you how to do the calculation later, but this is how you would break it down. You have P0 ball, P1 ball, P2 ball, P3 ball, P4 ball, P5 ball. All right, so you can figure it out for every one, and each ball has its own power ratings. The power rating is how much it increases the power your distance by. So you have 103, 105, 110, 113, and that's all down here, and they all increase to power because that's all we're worried about right now. Accuracy doesn't matter, nothing matters except for power. Okay, so this is how you find your for your different ball powers. Then we're going to go down clubs and yardages. You have your short iron, your long iron, your wood, your driver. Again, your short iron mid club min is always 45 yards. Long iron is always 90. Wood is always 135, and drivers always 180. That is the min for each of those clubs, no matter what. The only difference for calculations is if you're using a power ball. Okay. Now, when it comes to wedge and hazard clubs, meaning your sand wedge, your rough iron, and like your EB or whatever you're going to use, rapier, they never have a min distance because they don't have a club before them. So your min distance is always 0. So for these clubs, you're just going to stretch it out as fully as you can, and then you're going to break it down, 75, 50, 25. You're just going to that's how I do it. And your min value on your app is actually a 25% club. It is not a true min. So always measure out when you're doing hazard clubs, in my opinion. I just wanted to throw that in there to get knowledge on how we measure those. And we'll show you that in videos. And then you come down here, and it's the last part. We're going to break it down, a cat and a sniper, and I'll show you exactly how I go through and I get my calculations. So if we want to do a cataclysm, P0 ball, all we're going to do is take 100, okay, divide it by the max club. And you see down there, if you read Cataclysm 8, P0 ball, that's in bold, I break down the calculation for you. So you're doing 100 divided by, now again, when you're doing math, you always do the parentheses first. So we have 180 in there, which is the max distance of a cataclysm. And then we have 135 in there, which is the min distance of a cataclysm. Okay, so we do 180 minus 35, which is 45 yards. So 100 divided by 45 is about 2.22 or so. And that's how we get our calculation. And this would be if I drove the ball 343 yards, okay, and I moved 100 max yardage, and then the next one I drive 144 yards, which is 1 yard further, I would do essentially, I know this would be very hard to do, but I would do essentially 97.8% slider because I would subtract 2.2 from max. But that is how you find out each slider percent. So now the difference comes in when you add a power ball. Okay, so the second example we have is Cataclysm 8 P3 ball. You got 100 divided by 193. Well, all 193 is the max different distance of Cataclysm with a Kingmaker. Okay, so we're gonna times it by. What are we going to times it by? If you look up here, max club distance, power rating times 107. So we times 180 by 1.07, and that number is 193. Now, what you have to do is you have to change the min distance of the club as well because you're using a power. So now your long iron is going to be longer. So your min distance is obviously going to be longer. So you do 135 times the same power by the same percentage of Powerball is going to increase it, which is 1.07, and you get 144. You do the math, and I think it comes out to 49. 100 divided by 49, is like 50 point blah blah blah. So we just do 2 point blah 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 blah. So we just do 2. All right, easy. So if you're at max distance at 44, your next drive is 445. You would do 98% slider. And again, we'll show you that in the video, what we're talking about. This is how you find the calculations. I'll run through the next two a little bit faster. Sniper 10, basic ball. It's 100 divided by the max power of a sniper, 172, by a minute of a sniper, which is 135, and that comes out to 2.7. And then the next one, Sniper 10 P3 ball, again, you times 172 by 1.07, you get 184, times 135 by 1.07, you get 144, and then after you do the calculation, you get 2.5. So you would move 2.5% slider for every distance on your drive, for every yard difference on your drive. And that is how we find slider percentages for clubs.
All right, everyone. So before we get started with friendlies and you hear Daniel and I talking and explaining things to how we find certain things in this video, first we want to show you an example of the tool that we use. We don't usually have this on screen during tournaments. We have it on our device, like on our phone or a separate tablet from our actual gameplay screen. So here, if we're trying to find elevations, there are buttons at the bottom. You will see minus 20, minus 10, minus 5, and then you would do plus 5, plus 10, and plus 20. So Daniel can explain a little bit about what plus and minus elevation is. So Daniel, if you want to explain that for the people.
Yeah, sure. So on here, if I was going to hit plus 20, it means I think that the ball is going to be affected because we're going downhill. So anytime you're going to do a plus is when you think you're going to be hitting the ball downhill, which will have an effect on the ball. And then again, you can clear it all. And then you can go minus 20 if I'm thinking I'm hitting uphill because the wind is going to have less effect on the ball. So that's the only difference. If you think you're hitting uphill, you want to be in the minuses. Okay. And if you think you're hitting downhill, you want to be in the plus elevations. All right, back to you, Fenzl.
All right, so if you want to clear all on your screen, and then we'll talk about the biggest thing that people do not have an understanding of, and that is the slider. So if Daniel types in 8-mile-per-hour wind right now, and you can see the numbers in the box. So the far left column is going to be your min portion of your club. The middle column is going to be your mid distance of your club, and the far right column is going to be your max distance. So let's say we have a 10% elevation with this wind and we're going downhill, and we aren't quite at mid, but we're not quite at max. So let's say we're in between there. Daniel would take his slider and move it to 75%. Now, as you can see right below the wind where it says 8 miles per hour, you have a mid column, and that is showing what percentage your slider is at. Next to it is your ball power. So whatever ball power you're using, whether you're using a basic ball, a P1 ball, a P2 ball, or P3 ball, you will change this because it will affect your numbers that are being produced on this app. So with that being said, let's say we were at 75% club and we wound up missing. You determine how you missed. Either you adjusted too much or you adjusted too little. You would adjust your slider. So let's say you adjusted too much. Danny would then move his slider down to, let's say, 65%. However much you feel you missed by. It is an ultimate guess until you get the correct number dialed. So with that being said, that is how you use the app that we are using. Whether we're using it on stream, you see some of the streamers doing it, or we're using it on a separate device. So that is the slider and the tool and what we're using. And let's get on to the part of the video where we show you how we use it. All right, everyone, what's going on? This is Fenzl and Dmac, and here we're going to be doing some live interaction with you guys. We're going to be doing what we do for members Monday through Wednesday in Expert and Master. We're just going to be talking over shots. We're going to show you how we try to dial in yardages. Daniel, hit start so we can get going. And we're just going to show you how we figure things out and how we determine elevation, slider percentages, things like that. So whoever goes
Screw
first,
that. I'm going for the green.
All right, so let's go left here, and then we'll have Daniel explain what he's doing, and he'll tell me exactly what he's doing as well.
All right, so we're just trying to find a normal drive just to show you what we do. So we're gonna make it simple. I'm gonna put my orange. So I'm gonna let him put his orange on the rough. So I'm gonna take my orange slightly off the rough. Okay, full side spin, and we're gonna go. Let's do 3 top spin. Okay, and then we'll go 2-7. No elevation here. Okay, so we're just gonna go 2-1. And then we're just going to take a normal drive and then write down our yardage. So 2 top spin, full right spin, your orange will be on the rough.
Okay. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the same yardages so that we can try to dial in the second shot. So he went 309, so he's going to write that down.
Yep.
And I'm going to set my spins up. So you did full right spin, 2 top spin.
So I think I did 3. We'll take a look at ball guide when you set up on the orange. Yeah, it was 3. I guess I could have, so normally we would have more than one marking because your red could be on the rough in a lot of different places there.
Yeah, that's why I looked for where your ball guy or your guy was.
So, but you learn that as you go, and we're trying to play this as if we're coming in on a Monday morning showing exactly what we do, during tournament week for our members. We do this live. And so we're just giving you a little glimpse and trying to teach you what we do.
And perfect, great left, great right is going to determine where you are from the pin as well. Because if you hit great left, you're going to be farther away because the pin is to the right.
Yeah, so we went the exact same distance. Now, again, we're going to time out a couple times and just explain what we go through. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to, what's that? You check for elevation first, huh? I check club distance first, but we'll do it his way. So we're going to check for elevation first. So we're going to go here. Is the pin uphill or downhill? You know what? That's a little, if I were to guess, I would say we're landing pretty much flat, but there's going to be a little kick. So, I'd play this +5. What would you play this?
Yeah, I agree with +5.
So that's how we would think it. I mean, we're doing all this in a much faster pace because we would go like this. We back out. Now we're just have it in our head. Now he'll take you through the next step of our process.
All right, so the next step in the process is we're going to find out what distance the club we're in, but we also have to talk about where we're going to land. So are we going to do a rough bump? Or are we bouncing over? That's the...
So what I try to teach people is a rough bump is always the most consistent because you are eliminating second bounce wind effect for the most part. But we can show them both ways.
All right, so on this hole, we're going to show you the rough bump. So here is min distance in our club, and then here is max. So a trick that Daniel has taught me in this situation, we can actually measure what ring is, or what plus yardage is touching the cup to get a more detailed slider number. But I'm gonna let Daniel kind of figure out where we are in our club when it's his turn, and then we'll
Thanks.
start. Yeah, we'll start dialing up the shot from there.
All right. So +5 is what we thought our true elevation. So we're going to stick with +5 because we're just going to stick with it. And it might be right. It might be wrong. Stick with +5. So this is what he did. Now, we're so close to the edge. You can do a couple different things here. You could go middle cup is +5. You could go front of the yellow. And the reason I say that is how much closer can we get to this fairway? So you always want to have a measuring point, because if you're back here, you want to be able to measure too if it checks up. So I would say you would find the +1 mark and find out where you are there. Or, you go +2. So +2 is edge of the back of the cup on the clear. So these are just a couple different ways, but let's do it with the clear, Fenzl. Let's go. What do you want? Front of the clear? Like that?
Yeah, that works.
All right. So the first inside the white at +2 is how we'll measure how far away we are. So with 309 +2 clear is what I'd
I
write
think
down.
you're a little bit closer than I am.
Yeah.
We're still at +2.
Yeah, it's very similar.
All right,
Very
so this
similar.
is max. This is min. I'm gonna say, I would say probably closer to 80% club.
That sounds good. I can deal with 80.
And then
sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna set my spin to the hole. So we're gonna do like 1.3-ish left spin and 2 top spin. And then I would set my slider to 80%. And I'm actually, yeah, I'm not gonna rush this. So,
okay, I got it. 80%.
Yep, we're gonna try 80% at +5% elevation, like 1.3-ish left spin, 2 top spin.
Yeah, I wrote that down. So you see in my thing, I had mid is at 80 because we set it. So we'll always be the mid number. Elevation's +5. I'm going to put 2.7 into my 2.7 into my chart, and then I don't have the club.
Here, I can tell you.
All right.
Just get set up. So you're gonna go 1.4 ring.
So 2 top spin, 1.3-ish left spin. In the ball got in a hole. Would you say 1 point what?
1.4.
So we'll go 1.4.
Perfect shot.
And it went in. And so for his shot, he should use the exact same numbers. Now, if we missed, we would change the numbers. And that's how we dial in. But go ahead. Now
Now, hopefully I don't miss. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So because we know that that number went in, I can just set up everything the same. And then from here with 80% slider at +5, I'm going to go 1.5 rings.
Perfect shot.
I ain't never seen you wait that long to take a shot before in my life.
I was nervous, man. Making a video for the people. So we both we both dropped it dead center. So now we know from the tee, we know the exact spins to use. For the second shot, if we get that yardage, we know exactly what slider to use. Now I'll let Daniel explain what you would do with different yardages on that drive.
All right. So we went 309. And again, 309 is not the indicator, but we always just write down the yardage anyway. So we have 309. We were at +2 at the top of the clear ring. So let's say we went 309 again, but let's say it was a great left 309. And now we're at +4. So now let's pretend. Sorry, I don't have it. See, I don't have I could still do the slider, but I don't have the thorn.
I can show it on my screen. What do you want me to do?
Okay, so yeah, so what I'm saying is we did +5, so you're gonna hit +5 on your elevation. Let me turn this sound down so we +5 on the elevation, and we were at 80% slider. Okay.
Yep.
Now we know the thorn through calculation, a max thorn, is going to be about 2% per yard. So if I'm now at +4 to the hole, that means I'm 2 yards farther away than I was when I made it. So I have to now add, okay, percentages to my slider. So instead of 80, we're doing 2 per yard. Okay. So now we're going to add 4% because 2 times 2 is 4. 2 yards difference, 2% per slider per yard. So now we'll play it at 84%, and then you'd put the calculation in, and you would still use the mid number. In contrast to, let's say we hit great right at 309. So great right is obviously going to put us closer to that hole. I can't believe you missed that hole. It's going to put us closer to that hole. So now, let's say we're at +0. Okay. So now instead of going 84, you would go down to 76. And that's how you would go different in your sliders. And that's how you'd figure them out. Okay.
Makes sense to me. All right, now let's play another one. Or did you just back out at me?
No, I left because you didn't make the hole in one.
I just had to get my win percentage up on you. All right, so we're gonna start another one just to give another example. You want to go into like, so when you're dialing in yardages too, you have to be pulling at the same wind angle or the same pull angle for the second shot most of the time, correct?
Yeah. Yes, you would. This is
So
2 mile per hour winds.
Add the thorn into your bag. You can show them how to do that. Go to bags.
Okay.
And then swipe right on it. No, like Mr. Yep. Go to edit. And then go down to the club you need. So this is a quick tutorial on how to add stuff to your bag as well. And
I'm learning for the first time as well, which is awesome. And I'm going to take the Falcon out because I don't want to be looking at 2 different. And then we're going to hit the save button. Yeah. And so now we're going to have to go back to win down here. And now you see the thorn is now in the bag. And all right. And I got 8 seconds. So just again, this is what we do. Go. Yeah, I got you. We'd look, determine elevation for your drive if you're new to the course, stuff like that. To me, this is a 0 elevation drive, but because the second bounce wind effect on usually play about +10 on rookie 3 mile per hour winds is probably going to play 0.
Yeah. All right. So we'll play 0%, and then.
All right, and I'd be writing this down, but I'll be putting it into my app because we're going to play 0. Okay.
All right. So now, because I want us to be able to, teach them and not just drive the green, I'm going to do 2 right spin, no top spin. I'm going to have my blue on the rough on the right-hand side. And then I'm at max extension. I'm going to do no elevation at max. So I'm going to go 2.6 rings. And I'm pulling about 2.2 rings into overpower. So that's what I'm going to use here. And then I'm going to try and hit perfect. And then we'll write down our yardage from here. We could have just bounced over, but I don't want to do that with an APOC. Yeah.
Why would we do that when we could just do this?
All right, so I'm going to write down 335. And then Daniel probably won't go the same yardage. So then we'll be able to show you how to, kind of figure out different yardages live.
So 2-1, I'm putting into the app, 0 elevation. We're going to go 1.9 ring. He landed right up here. His blue was on, so my blue will be slightly off. He had 2 right spin on, no top spin. So we're going what? 1.9?
Yep. And why don't you kind of go into more detail with different level clubs at different ring sizes? So you got to take that into effect.
Yeah, so whenever someone's telling you a setup, you have to know. Let me do it after I do this drive. I'll talk to him. So we're doing 1.5 rings of OP. So we're just going to go here about 1.5. So every club, you have to know what size the rings are. So at an APOC 7, if I have an APOC 8, to know the difference. So a real way to find that out would be, let's say he had 2 rings. Can I just show him how to figure that out?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to time out. Oh, I don't know if he's going to time out.
Yep,
He
I'm
probably
gonna
just
time
should. So let's say he is an APOC 7 and he is on the rough. And let's say, well, I'll do mine. So let's say I have my clear on the rough. That's 1 ring, right? So 1 ring, I'm technically APOC 8, 1 ring into the rough. So I would do this. I would keep hitting in wind until this said 1 ring. Okay. So I have a power 3 ball. So let's do 1.3 wind. Almost 1 ring. Oh no, that's 1.2. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong number. So let's type in 1, 1. Okay. So 1.1 miles per hour of wind. Did you see that? That right number is 1. Okay. So 1 point wind is 1 ring in. So then Fenzl with his APOC 7, go ahead, type in 1.1 wind into your app.
All right.
And what does this say on your app?
For which column?
For the max.
0.9.
Okay. So we'd have a 0.9 difference on this one, okay, in where we would set up. So which is marginal. But wait, hold on. Yeah. So you have to determine how much wind, and that's how much you move off. So if I was, 2 rings off, you'd find out what rings is and so on and so forth, and that's how you determine how far off of the rough you need to go. I mean, that's how I do it.
Daniel does it the complicated way. I just say, okay, your rings are bigger, mine are smaller. I move here and we hit.
Yeah, that's another way. He has APOC 8 rings are smaller, APOC 7 rings are bigger. So if my red's on the rough, his red needs to slightly be in the rough because they're bigger, essentially. So that's all it is. But you need to pay attention because it could cost you if it's a very tight drive. So just pay attention. Now he's going to go into his shot.
Yeah. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find out min line and then I'm going to find my max. But since we have a headwind, I'm actually going to set up at the min line. I'm going to look at my elevation. We're going downhill, but the wind isn't that much. So I'm just going to do +5. And I'm going to move just off the min line because I'm not going to land on the fringe, piss Daniel off. So from here, I'm going to use like 1.75 backspin. And then I'm going to go +5% at min distance in my club.
Which is the gray number. So you should be going 0.5 here.
I'm going to time out.
All right. So let us teach you the best part about min club shots. So he's at min club, right? And look at me. I'm a little bit farther, but I'm at min club too. And all you have to do at min club is play the same thing. So if I'm back here at min club, I can play the same as Fenzl as long as my ball goes to the hole, even up here at min club. And we'll show you because we're going to be in 2 different spots. I mean, slightly different.
The wind is a little different too.
Yeah, the wind's different. It's going to get a little bit more of a push, but because it's true side wind. But we're going to do 3/8. So 3/8, he was playing +5.
Got it clear. Yep.
So he was playing +5 at 3/8, and we're doing min distance. We're going to go 1.1. You gotta get used to that. I'm going to time out too. My sound was down. I didn't realize. Back to Fenzl.
All right. He just wants me to miss first so he can look good. All right. So now I'll set up at min club. So now I'm on the fringe and I don't want to land there because Daniel tells me that it's not a consistent landing spot and I'll miss. So I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push up a little bit. I'm gonna do the same spin like 1.8. As long as my ball guide is, through the hole. Depending on the wind is what you're gonna want to judge if it's through the hole or not as well. So I'm gonna go 1.2 rings. and I hit great. But perfect was in. I mean, come on.
Perfect was in.
Damn it!
All right, so I know that his +5 is right. So I'm going to show you how to make it. So we're going to go 3-9. Okay, we have a little bit different wind here, but 3-9, 1.2. So this is what's going to happen on this shot. Since it's slightly different. In order to be able to adjust that 1.2, you have to go to min, and then you have to move up 1.2-ish rings to make sure you can adjust. So we're going to go here. We're going to get the ball guide in the hole. I like it a little bit further. You saw that we moved up our 1.2-ish ring. Now we can adjust our 1.2-ish rings. Man, that time is flying. Oh, great. Well,
perfect was in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, I just want to see.
You know, we can't hit perfect all the time, but you know, you guys, that's how we figure it out. I can't believe Daniel just choked, and I'm gonna win because of it. But yeah, so these are the things that we look for when we are, you know, trying to find shots in tournaments. You know, these are the things that we do for our members. We wanted to share this with you guys because we get so many people asking questions. You know, hey, what's a slider? How do you determine, you know, elevation? How do you determine what slider you're in? As you can see, you know, we're just guessing. It's not
just a guess.
It's
just
not
a guess.
like we have this magical thing that tells us exactly where we are. You have to do trial and error. That's why we suggest practicing on Monday. You know, if you have multiple accounts, it helps. If you have a friend that you can play with, it helps. You know, work with people, pay attention to detail, and I can let Daniel explain things that he looks for as well. So if you want to go into more detail, you can.
No, I mean, you pretty much hit on it. We're not magic. We've just played the game enough. What Fenzl and I do, though, is we always try to guess true club percentage. I don't want to play something at 30 elevation at 20% club if I'm at max. You know what I mean? So if you're at 80% club, try to use 80% club and then get the true elevation on the hole. Don't play a hole at 10%, right? And then put 50% into your slider with no elevation. Because what happens when you drive ball different distances and you have to now break that down? Let's say it checks up or you get a speed roll, and now you try to extrapolate that out. It's not going to extrapolate out correctly because you didn't have the true percentage of your club. So just always try to use true percentage, and you hit on the rest of the stuff perfectly. Just same drive every time, and then break it down your yardages and find how to measure distances to the hole, and you'll be able to get every slider percentage you need. And again, it's just an educated guess.
Repetition. The more you work with min, mid, and max, the more you will be able to accurately guess where you are in your club. There are charts that you can use where you can actually measure rings to base off how far you are from a hole, but I mean that takes more time. I mean, Daniel and I don't do that. We just kind of work off of each other. That's what we've been doing for a while. We're gonna put some links to the first page you saw in the beginning of how you find your club slider values. You know, like if a thorn is 2% per yard, plus or minus on your drive, and then, you know, sniper, cataclysm, things like that. That's also going to be in the description section. So if you want a copy of that, definitely go check that out. I think Daniel's going to put something else in there. Do you want to explain that, or do you just want them to click on it to find out?
No, it's a work in progress, so I gotta see if it's all correct. If it's something I think that needs to be in there, it'll just be added with it.
Okay. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for the love and support. If you have any questions, please leave your questions in the comment section. You know, let us know if you liked the video, if you didn't, if you want us to do more informative videos like this. We appreciate the love and support that you have been showing us. I will let Daniel end it from here.
Oh, really? Thanks, everyone. hopefully this helped. Yeah, if you want more videos like this, just let us know. We're here to help. We want to teach. We want you guys to learn the game, how we learn the game, and thank you for all the support you do. Again, we can't thank you guys enough. So hopefully enjoy, take back, learn, absorb, and hit perfect. We out.